Yay. All right. Well, welcome back to Lead and Love. Oh my gosh, it's been 3 weeks since we have been together. So I am definitely what I have to share with you guys. I was kind of giggling at myself as I was getting ready to share with y'all, because I thought it just reminds me, my thought that I had to myself reminded me of Cindy Williams, where, she would get on and just be like, this is the best that's ever happened before, like everything is always the best. And it was true. It was like, when you're in the moment, you're like, this is the best. And it doesn't put down, it's a genuine feeling, not to put down what has happened before, but it just keeps getting better and better. I don't know. It's just the way I am thinking about today. So I'm excited to share with you guys. So let's go back to our routine that we start with, making an impact internally, externally, and eternally, with our seed scripture verse, Romans 12:12. Rejoice in hope, be patient under trial, persevere in prayer. I feel like that internal verse is really what we're going to be going deep on today. Rejoice in hope, be patient under trial, persevere in prayer. We're definitely focusing on, I think, the seed part of seed, feed, lead. And then our next 12:12 scripture, Luke 12:12, the Holy Spirit will teach you at that moment all that should be said while we are out feeding, right, our followers, whether the followers are in our family, our customer base, our team, wherever. And then lead, 1 Corinthians 12:12. The body is one and has many parts, but all the parts, many though they are one body. Each of us with our own gifts, talents, strength, accomplishments, victories, right? Just all the things where we are. Each of us is so unique and we are so many parts, but so grateful that all of our parts and the more parts that are to come in our BFF family, that we all just work together so beautifully and complement each other. And I hope that you look at your growing team the same way. We are not cookie cutter molds of each other, are we? Right? So, and we're not meant to be. And then moving on to our X theme for the month, it is exclaim gratitude. Today is the last day of November, you guys. Next week's Lead and Love, we'll have our December X theme, but today we are remembering to exclaim gratitude, right? Exclaim, but not just be grateful, right? Not just being internally grateful, but proclaiming the thanks, saying out loud the things that we are thankful for. We must not only be thankful when things are going well. In every moment, in every season, there is a reason to be grateful, right? And again, that's back to our Romans 12:12 scripture verse. Be patient under trial, right? Rejoice still through it all. And again, that really is going to be kind of a theme for today. Y'all want to know what the theme is? Okay, I don't know if I have a title for it. If I say the title that I wrote down, you might be like, but I'll tell you anyway. So the title is Love is Sacrifice. Love is sacrifice. And as we transition to this topic, I always love to start with little quips, right? That we just can kind of repeat in our heads. And so we know one of them is leaders are readers. Leaders are also learners, and leaders are listeners. We're a lot of things. So the inspiration behind today's is something that I heard, kind of watched, not really. It's a YouTube video. So, and it's of he's talking from a stage. So I could watch it every now and then, but it wasn't like I had to sit still and stop doing everything I was doing, right, to watch it. So it was more of listening. And it really inspired me to share with you his message and expand on it in different directions. So let's go back to the basics first. We are in this Mary Kay world, started by Mary Kay Ash. And in her autobiography, she says that our business is all about P&L, not what traditional businesses call P&L, which is profit and loss. Not that we can't make a profit, and we certainly do, right? But the driving force, the driving feel the driving power of our P&L is people and love. And so our lead and love, right? We are leading the people and we are doing it in love. And I feel like a lot of the most recent lead and loves have been more about the leadership part. And today is going to be more about the love part. Obviously, love is sacrifice. And it's going to be a little preachy too. So, you can't talk about love without being preachy, because who is love? Right? God is love. So let's get into love. First, before I keep going first, I keep going like, let me layer another base. Let me give you another base foundation. I mean, we just got to have a strong foundation. So sometimes we don't always feel Pollyanna love. And love is not always Pollyanna. Let's be clear on that too. Sometimes people have a different perspective of love, right? Like jump into the fields and the flowers, right? Like love doesn't always look like that. But sometimes we can feel moody, tired, overwhelmed, questioning, uninspired. And not that we want to focus or dwell on that, and you might not feel like that right now. So if you're like, I'm high on life and everything is working as it should, that's fantastic, right? And so I want to share that reality because, one, we're women with hormones. Those are real. A lot of us are moms with kids. Just the reality of our life is those emotions and realities. If they're not your reality right now, will be, not can be, will be at some point, right? Moody, tired, overwhelmed, questioning, uninspired. And so we got to prepare for that, right? Because those are not usually states of mind or states of heart where we feel like, I'm ready to love the world. I'm ready to pass on my love for Mary Kay to others. I'm ready to pass on my love, right? And so how do we continue? Because we are called through this business, again, Mary Kay Ash said, people in love. That is the culture of our business, the way, not just the culture. It is our way. What is the Mary Kay way? Right? I asked that on our Monday night Zoom. That was actually a challenge. So here's a little reminder, because not everyone is on our Monday night Zooms. But at the very end, I had two challenges. And one of them was, I would love for you to define, recall something of what is the Mary Kay way. It's a phrase that we can kind of just like throw out there. It's the Mary Kay way. But what is the Mary Kay way? Maybe you want to write it out, look it up again, just kind of dwell on that. But I'm just going to focus on the love part. So let's prepare for the times that we don't feel loving or sharing, right? So we know in the Bible it says put on the armor of God daily. But honestly, sometimes even in the daily, we're like, I don't even have the energy to put on my armor, right? So then I thought, well, then it's like the prepare your oil, right? That parable of the women who stashed their extra oil, right? So they could stay up ready. So we are stashing our oil, right? And so the thing that I watched, I actually added to my YouTube channel under one of my playlists. So you can find it easy. You don't have to go searching on YouTube. But it's Father Mike Schmitz, and it's just recent. He just shared at Texas A&M, and it was October 27th. So we're talking like this is just a month ago. But my YouTube channel, just a little plug on how easy it is to find things. I've been really working hard behind the scenes to simplify and streamline everything. Y'all remember the place you can start for everything, right? Whenever you think, where do I find? You always have one answer, bff.net.in/ did you fill it in your head? Bright Stars. Okay, so Bright Stars is where you start. You can find my YouTube channel. And then when you go to my YouTube channel, there's different playlists. And one of the topics is faith and family. And so go to faith and you'll see in that playlist, the Father Mike Schmitz at Texas A&M. Okay, so he was, actually, I'll just tell you, it was fantastic, fantastic. So don't think just because of what I'm pulling from his talk is his talk. It's a lot of it, but he goes he has all kinds of great stories. He even gets into like David and Goliath and all kinds of other things. So I would say, if you want something to listen to, that's a great one to listen to. And it's always good to listen to things over and over and get the message more than one time. But where I'm going to focus is Luke 5. Okay. So Luke 5 is when Jesus got into Peter's boat, and he had been fishing, not catching anything. And then Jesus asked to get in his boat. It says he got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to pull out a short distance from the shore. When he finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and lower your nets for a catch." Right. And then that's when Simon replied, I'll just tell you, Father Mark Schmitz is really good because he just kind of talks normally. Like, dude, he doesn't say dude, but like he just kind of like makes it sound real or whatever. So he's like, "Master, we have been hard at it all night long and have caught nothing. But if you say so, I will lower the nets." Right. And then, of course, they catch all the fish, and I will go on to that story. We'll keep going on in the story. So there's kind of 3 levels in this story. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and finish it, and then we'll talk about the 3 levels. So they caught all the fish. At the sight of this, Simon Peter fell at the knees of Jesus, saying, "Leave me, Lord, I'm a sinful man." Right. For in amazement at the catch they had made, it seized him and all of his shipmates. And Jesus said to Simon, "Do not be afraid. From now on, you'll be catching men." Okay. And then with that, they brought their boats to land, left everything, and became his followers. Okay. So he talks about kind of the 3 phases. So phase 1 was Jesus saying, "Can I get in your boat? You needed a place to get into. Can I get in your boat?" And that very simple question, action, was basically, can I be in your space? He didn't ask anything of Peter, right? It was just, can I be in your space? Can I get in your boat? So for some people, that may be the only question that needs to be asked. Can I get in your boat? Right? I think for all of us who are watching right now live, I'm looking at all your names. I think Jesus is in our boat. Right? Okay. So then he tells Peter, "Put out into deep water and lower your nets for a catch." So Peter's a fisherman. He knows how to lower his net, right? He knows how to lower his nets into deep water. So the reality is, even though Peter had already been fishing all night, he wasn't asking him to do anything that he didn't already know how to do. Y'all following me here? Okay, let me just say, when we're talking scripture, we know there's historical meaning, there's salvation meaning, right? And there's meaning for you. The word is alive. And so we could take this and put it into our world, right? So in our world, Jesus is in the boat and he says, "Go do this. Go cast your net into deep water. Do what you already know how to do, but I am with you now. Do it with me here, with me in your space, with me by you." And so I think, do we always do what we know to do, what our jobs are calling us to do with Jesus right there? Recognizing that he's right there. Y'all following me? Right? It's easy to kind of get like, I'm just throwing the net over, I'm making the phone calls, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Right? But like, he's in the boat, okay? And recognizing, I'm with you, right? Do what you know how to do. Then, when the catch comes in, Peter sees his sinfulness. He sees the doubt that he had, right? He had doubt, he had questions, he had all kinds of things, right? In his past life, all this kind of stuff. And what is his reaction? "Leave me. I'm disqualified. I am not worthy. You have to leave me. I'm not even worthy to like be in your space." Okay. And that feeling of, I am not good enough. I'm not good enough for you to even be here helping me. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this huge blessing that you have. Right? Can y'all relate a little bit? Like I am unqualified. Right? And we can, in that, even though Jesus is there, turn it on us and go, and we just want to hide. We just want to hide because all we see is our sinfulness, our doubt, all those not so nice things. So we're going to pause on Peter and we're going to back up to the Old Testament and go back to Genesis 3. So in Genesis 3, we're still in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, and the apple has been eaten and their eyes were opened, right? So the eyes were opened, and that was the first sin. And he even says that first sin is when trust died in man's heart. Trust died, right? God had been with them like a best friend, roaming with, talking with, right? You're in beauty. And then trust died with that first sin. Again, thinking of our own journey of the being untrusting, right? Untrusting of his promises and his words, and that he is with us all the time. So God, their best friend, right, has been roaming, and he comes and they do what? They hide, right? Just like Peter was like, I can't even be in your presence. Adam and Eve hide, okay? Our sins and also our failures. You know, Lord, you call me to this job. You call me to this work, which I know how to do. You have this opportunity in front of me for me to bless other people, for me to bless my family. And I'm not. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust you working through me, right? And I failed, right? Let me just hide from you. I just want to hide. And in 3:9, God says, where are you? And I hope y'all watch the Father Mike Schmitz do it. He's so fun. He's like, God isn't like, what happened? Where'd they go? God's all knowing. He knows where they are. He knows where you are. But he still asks, where are you? Because in the question of him asking, it hurts, right? Sometimes it's the hurt, right? But it gives us the chance to acknowledge him and to come to him, right? To say, I'm right here. I'm here. Here I am, Lord. And then his next question could also, do you hear it? Well, his next question is, who told you? Who told you to eat from the apple? Who told you? You know, all that. Again, it's not a, oh man, how'd that happen? Who told you? He knows, right? And so how do we hear those words? Is it in anger? Who told you, right, to sin? Who told you that? Or is it in love? And maybe a little heartbrokenness. Oh, who told you? Because in that break, in that first sin, now God knows, even though we were made for love, right? This is all back to love, y'all. And I know, again, let me just like pause for a second, because it's feeling kind of preachy. You're like, does this connect to my Mary Kay? For sure. Why? Because everything that we do is with people. Everything that we do is with people. And honestly, if you haven't been talking to people or seeing people, then what are you doing in your Mary Kay, right? I mean, like, I ask myself that a lot. That's not a condemning question, but because I have to ask myself that too. When's the last time I actually spoke to someone, when I interacted with someone? I'm playing Mary Kay, right, in my head, or playing it, moving my products around in the office. But if I'm not doing something with people, what am I actually doing here? So all of this love, we're coming to it because it is through the act of love that we do lead better, right? And we do build successful businesses. So we are made for love, and originally for that love for eternity, right? We were made to love him for all time. But he knows now that sin happened, from now on, love involves sacrifice. So here we go. There's the sacrifice part. Love will always involve sacrifice. From the first sin, when trust died. For women, he goes to and he says that love of bringing life into the world will involve pain, right? A sacrifice. For men working, and we know men, women, all that, for all of us, it'll be in toil, right? We will toil when we work. From now on, love involves sacrifice. And even later, this is so beautiful, actually. Y'all know, good thing we know the story, how it continues. But right after that, God goes with them, right? So Eden, walked out of Eden, God goes with them and makes leather garments. This is huge, you guys. So leather means from an animal. His love, now they feel naked. He wants them to feel clothed, makes leather garments, which means there had to be a sacrifice of an animal, right? That every act of love involved sacrifice. And of course, we know the ultimate sacrifice came through Jesus, right? The ultimate act of love. And so Romans 5:8 says, it is precisely in this that God proves his love for us, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us, right? The ultimate sacrifice for love. So let's go back to Peter. Okay, so we know from the very beginning, love is sacrifice. Lots of time happened between then, and now we're with Peter in the boat with Jesus. Okay, so Peter had failed at fishing. He was cleaning his nets, not cleaning the fish, right? So no fish had come in. The deepest form of love is mercy, because mercy requires failure. It requires sin, right? It requires the brokenness. You don't deserve it, right? You have to fail first to receive mercy, right? You have to not get it right. That's the whole definition of mercy, is I don't deserve this, right? I failed, I messed up. But that high, deep love, it's a love, but deeper, higher, both directions. Because before that, there was a failure or a sin, brokenness, weakness, something, right? And that's the love of God we need the most, that he offers to us, and we deserve the least. So Peter sees the brokenness. Jesus is merciful, right? And does not leave the boat, even though he says, just like God was merciful and says, I know you want to hide, but let me make leather garments for you, right? There is mercy in the failure. There is that love that continues. And then the third step, because first was, can I just be with you? I just want to get your boat. I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm just asking you to open the door. The second was, keep doing what you're doing, but do it with me right next to you. Right? Keep fishing. You already know how to fish. You've been doing that for years. Just keep doing it. But now involve me. Right? And then the third thing is he gives him the vision. He says, from now on, you'll be fishing for men. So once he's with us and we're like, okay, Lord, you're with me all the time. Then he goes, I'm going to use everything. You've been doing what you're doing with me. And I have a bigger vision for you. I have a big vision for you. And he says, do not be afraid. Right? Do not be afraid. All the stuff before prepared you for this. Whatever, it has prepared you. I'll be with you is the do not be afraid, right? And I think sometimes when I know, just been doing this long enough and talked to enough people that they go, well, what is my vision? Right? We just we want to control, but I want to know my vision. What's the vision he has? And we search for, why am I doing this? What's the bigger purpose of why I'm doing this? And it may not be so clear. Like Jesus just saying, I got your vision. You're going to be fishing for men. Come on. Right? Because after that, they dropped everything and they're like, I'm in, let's follow. Right? And it's kind of almost seems so easy. But so I want to direct you to Proverbs, and this is going to be the last, I think, scripture verse that I'm taking you to. But Proverbs 16:9 says, in his mind, a man plans his course, but the Lord directs his steps. So even if you're not sure, go ahead and plan. Follow the vision that you think it is. It's okay. Remember, we talked about that a few Lead and Loves before, the incorrectness of we make plans and God laughs. Y'all remember that topic? He ain't laughing. It's make the plans. In his mind, a man plans his course, then the Lord directs your steps, right? So just trust that even if you didn't say it, it came from the sky, we know he's with us and he's directing our steps. And so other things I want to remind you of as we direct our steps, and when I wrap it up, it's going to get even better. Okay. So one, the video, and again, you can find it on my YouTube channel, the 4 phases of a beauty consultant. If you haven't ever watched it or watched it in a long time, it'll be a good reminder of kind of this process, right? We're doing what we know how to do, and then we fail. And then there's that recommitment where we're like, am I going to keep going? Am I going to throw the nets, and just be like, forget this? just leave? Or do we recommit and go, all right? And so it's just kind of a practical example, through acting and music and fun of these phases, and that we continue to go through them. And sometimes you can go through them. I was just talking to someone yesterday. I'm like, oh my gosh, you went through all 4 phases today in one day. You literally did it in one day. And it was just awesome. I mean, the conversation in the morning was absolutely the opposite of the conversation at night. It was pretty cool. So here's where we're going to switch it. Y'all ready? Lead and love. All this that I think you probably have been hearing is through your experience, your heart, your life, right? Yes? Or the head nods? Are y'all been like, okay, I'm putting me in that Peter spot, right? We are called to lead. So now put yourself in Jesus's spot. And the people you are leading are the Peters. Okay? Through leadership, right? We are called to be servant leaders. Our example is Jesus. We are called to lead with that same mercy, right? And if you even think about it, even the simplicity of, can I get in your boat? Can I just be in your space? And then keep doing what you're doing. Just do it with me. Just do it with me. Let's link arms. And then after linking arms and doing some fun little things, I got a bigger vision for you. I believe in you and I see bigger things. Along the way of all those bigger things, we know that after that, did Peter get it all right? Absolutely not. He continued to mess up over and over and over. Praise the Lord that that's in the Bible. Right? I mean, all the way to the very end. But from the leader who is merciful. Okay, so you're the leader. You have team members, customers that will make mistakes, that will say unkind words, maybe, prospects, whatever, that don't return your checks, right? That mess up, maybe do something wrong, whatever. We are called to love, give mercy. Lordy, do we know we've needed it? So who are we as leaders to be like judging, unforgiving of that? So we give mercy, we give love to all of that mess of figuring it out, right? Grace of figuring it out. And it was about a year ago, actually, I think it was December, I don't know, it was almost exactly a year ago, that I was at the $1 million retreat or whatever. And that song, All You Need Is Love by the Beatles, I kept playing it over and over, right? And then I just replaced All You Need Is Love with All You Need Is God, because God is love. It's so true. I'm like, we got to rebirth that song again, all you need is love, all you need is. And so back to Peter, he dropped everything, became the followers, right? And so he mentions Father Schmitz in the thing about The Chosen. We love The Chosen. Oh my gosh, so happy the season 3 is out now. Look, we're dying for it to come back. But he says, it's so great to have that picture, that vision of Peter, kind of, they wake up in the morning and the fire is still kind of dwindling through the night. And he just looks and he's like, what are we going to do today? What are we going to do today, Jesus? I'm following you. Everything that I do is in your hands. And so that just reminded me, when you go to, or I want you to go to that Bright Stars link, go to BFF, right? .net.in/BrightStars, go to Mindset Matters. And in there is a tab and it's called the 6 List from God. And I have for years and years had that tucked in my Bible. I haven't always done it every day, but I'm going to pull it back out. And that's basically the kind of questions that you ask. Kind of like, what are we going to do today, Jesus? Right? And just, oh, look, Jenny just held hers up. I love it. Yay. Right? Oh, and Christina's pointing hers is up above her desk. But isn't it funny that we have stuff for a long time and you kind of forget, like it almost kind of like it's there. And you're like, oh, yeah. So maybe we can start our days in that and love, right? And just love, even remembering that it's sacrifice. Love requires sacrifice. And so when we feel the occasion where we might have to be a merciful love, who does that sacrifice on our part? Pride, oh, gosh, I don't know, confidence, I don't know. It takes all, that is a sacrifice to give a merciful love. Okay. And it can be over tiny things. It's crazy what we can get ourselves worked up again about, or sad about, or down about. But then to remember, okay, it feels like a big sacrifice, but the flesh is weak, right? But the Spirit is in us. As baptized children of God, when we are baptized, the Holy Spirit is in us. If you're thinking, how can I do that? That's the whole point, right? It's through the Spirit that we have the strength to love, to show up for work and cast those nets one more time and make those phone calls, but not just on our own, to be like, all right, this is where you have me planted, Lord, in this Mary Kay world. And sometimes you have to give yourself that pep talk. Lead self to lead others. We got to lead ourselves. You are the boss. I mean, it'd be great if, I was in your ear every half hour, maybe not so great. People might go crazy, right? But if we had that like inspiration to go, you can do it. I would have loved it. Right. Also, if I had that person, but we are our own boss. And so sometimes, most of the time, we give ourselves that pep talk and have to remind. And so maybe those 6 lists will help remind that Jesus is in the boat with you. Right. And even when it feels like sacrifice, that's not a bad thing. It's actually love. Right. And maybe that'll help turn around all of our service and what we're doing as acts of love. So just to wrap it up too, just because we are leaders and we know as we lead ourselves in our own businesses that attract number grows. And today is the last day of the month, which means tomorrow we start it all again, right? And so, of course, we have our 2020 sheets to track our week, which we're in the middle of a week. But hopefully you already have your 2020 sheet working from it, right? That was our other challenge on Monday, to do one more thing on the 2020 sheet that you haven't done before, because there's quite a number of things to track on there so you can grow your business. So let's win the week. We're starting into a new month. Win your week. You don't know how to win if you don't know what the goal is, right? So set your goal so that you can have your win. And then, of course, we're starting a new month with the unit of our exposures per week, 2020, 20 exposures a week, 20 hostesses a month. I hope I give you guys hope, and I don't know what the word is, hope, I guess, that we don't change the goal. I mean, I'm not changing the goal. I know that was a good goal. I know it is strategic and I know it's doable. I'm not changing the goal, right? 20 exposures a week, 20 hostesses a month. And then of course, for you guys, a big goal for moving up is 20 full circle faces a month, 20 faces a month, and 20 days of degree. Your world will explode, right? And then of course, the last little phrase that we love to say is show up to go up. And of course, preaching to the choir here on our Lead in Love. So happy to be together again. You are showing up to your consultant things, right? Your Zooms with your unit, this for our entire BFF. But show up too, do your own appointments, make an appointment. If you don't have a party booked, you be the party, right? Like, let's show up for our customers too. And then showing up to the Mary Kay gatherings. So in January 7th, on your calendar, it's Golden Gathering. It's turning into something bigger because Lene Tate is doing something here local in Lynchburg. So it's already on your calendar, but just know it's going to be bigger with more people. So I'm excited about that. And then, of course, we've got a few of you working towards Nashville, which we know we're going to be in Nashville together. So that will be right after the jump start. And then March 17th to 19th, that's going to replace the Golden Gathering from the week before. So we're going to be at a house in Lake Anna. I'm so excited. I booked it. So y'all can mark off that weekend too. So, all right, closing in prayer. Lord, thank you so much for this time that we have to gather to just be reminded of your love, and that we are filled with your Spirit to be love to others, to be the hands and feet of Jesus here on earth. And to lead with excellence, even when it's hard, Lord, even when we don't feel like it, that we can turn to you and store up as long as it takes for us to be reminded of who we are, who you created us to be, what gifts you gave us, and to, when we feel like our flesh is weak, to not rely on ourselves, but to completely rely on you, your love, your strength, your forgiveness, your mercy, and your love. Thank you, Lord, for all that we have had that has prepared us for what we are moving ahead to, the vision that you have for us. Thank you, Lord, for it all. Amen. I'm pausing.